A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Explanation of Salafite view in regard to the word food or feed. Those who do not understand the Salafite views properly assume that Salafites believe that God is an immaterial, non-physical, large body with feet, hands, eye, back, face, etc. Such an idea, even if helpful, is harmful, as not every mind can grasp the idea correctly. According to Salafites, if some notions or if a notion is asserted to God, one is saying that God is both like and unlike, similar and dissimilar in what one is asserting. That is the point. And if you think that there is a contradiction between the two, I will explain that there is no contradiction between the two. There are some examples which may be understood at this point. Number one, we say God knows or God has the knowledge, but we do not mean God has non-eternal knowledge. Also, we do not mean God has finite knowledge. But when we say a human being has knowledge or a human being knows, this means that the human being has a knowledge which is neither eternal nor infinite. And when we say that God has the knowledge, it is eternal and infinite. So you may see that there are some differences between the two and some likeness between the two. Similarly, we say God has life or God lives. When we assert this type of life to God, then the divine life is neither the earthly life nor the alien life. Although no alien has been found, but what we can assume about aliens cannot be applied to God. In general, it is not the biological life. In general, it is asserted. In another regard, it is negated. For example, we say life of human being is neither eternal nor infinite, but life of God is both eternal and infinite. Additionally, the human life depends upon DNA, and divine life is beyond DNA. Even the concept of DNA is not applicable to the divine life. So we are asserting an attribute to God, and we are showing that these are the communicable attributes. However, in some regard they are similar, and in some regards they are not similar or dissimilar. So there is no contradiction. Additionally, the life of a human being is neither eternal nor infinite, but divine life is both eternal and infinite. Salafites generalize this concept and say that when the words like hand, feet, eye are asserted to human beings, they are the parts of the body or organs of the body, finite and non-eternal. But when these words they are asserted to God, they are neither organs nor parts of the body, nor infinite nor non-eternal. They insist that such words either cannot be proofs of the belief that God has a body, or cannot be a proof of the belief that God either has a corporeal body or a physical body or a material body. So they say that when you say that God has feet, then it does not imply that God has a body at all. Or some say that okay, it may imply that God has a body but not a corporeal body. So what do they mean by the word substances and bodies when they infer such concepts from such words? So they insist that such words cannot be proofs of the belief that God has a body, or cannot be a proof of the belief that either God have a corporeal body or a physical body or a material body. In later case, they say that the words like body, substance, form, if used for God, only mean per se subsistence of the self of the God. The divine body is divine per se subsistence as divine per se subsistence. The same is true for the term divine substance. So what I have said till now, that there are some problems in understanding Salafist view properly, and I have presented some explanations. So again we move. This can be summarized in an expression: God hath hands but not like us, God has feet but not like us, and so on. In regard to cataphatic and apophatic arguments, they have a middle approach. They use apophatic approach in regard to rational arguments and cataphatic in regard to scriptural arguments. For an example, they argue that God can see and God does see, and the sight of God is a divine attribute. A cataphatic approach, but on the question, can God smell, they neither deny, some of them neither deny the ability to smell a thing or nor reject it, and some reject it. This is the point to be noted. So in that case, they are apophatic. So when we come to rational arguments, Salafites and some others as well use apophatic approach, and when talking to the scripture they use cataphatic approach. This is the thing, and I have given the example of the ability to smell a thing. So we can say that God can see, but we cannot say that God can smell as well, because God, the word see or the ability of sight has been used in the scriptures, but nothing is stated about the ability to smell a body or a thing. So this is the thing, and I have explicitly stated that apophatic arguments are in regards to rational arguments, and cataphatic arguments are in regard to scriptural arguments. So there is no contradiction, and some of the objection makers opine that there is a contradiction in the view of Salafites, but I don't think that their objection is valid, because they have two different regards. In regard to A, something else, and in regard to B, something else. What that is applicable in regard to A is not applicable in regard to B, and what that is applicable in regard to B is not applicable in regard to A. So this is the thing, and I can give another example which may be of some interest. Another example is that the ability to see or the ability of sight is a sense in regard to a human being. There are 5 human senses, and the ability to to see a body or to see a being is a sense in a human being. But is it a sense in regard to the supreme being? The apophatic approach denies, or at least is silent on the issue. So if someone take a apophatic approach, it is very correct, because we cannot ascribe to God the ability to smell a thing. But if a cataphatic approach is taken, then one may incline to say, yes, God has the ability to smell the odor of a thing. So, but we are not taking that. And there's some problem with the cataphatic approaches in regard to the rational arguments. That is the reason, and as there is no contradiction between these two. So some people think that there is an internal inconsistency in the Sulfites view, but I don't think so. However, we have made a chart for it, and you may see that the chart shows the approaches to divine being: apophatic, medium, and cataphatic. And apophatic is once again divided into hard, medium, and soft, and cataphatic is also divided into hard, medium, and soft. So it is not that that there is no medium between these. And once again, apophatic and cataphatic has a medium. So many people who have made objections, well, it may be noted that I have inclined to defend in this lecture Sulfites view, although we do not assert that we are Sulfites, but we will defend it as long as it is possible. And I will show that there is a conclusion. Divine hands, divine feet or foot are just attributes, neither segments nor parts nor organs. This is the view of minority of Ahl-Sunnah. Hope that things might have been clarified. As for us, we try to defend both literalists and interpretists as long as it is possible to defend without showing our inclination, since we are non-denominational Ahl-Sunnah. So this is Tammat. Tammat means end of the discussion. So if you want to see the whole discussion in a written form, and we will show it to you. And this is what, if someone wants to read, and the second page, due to the air blowing from the fan, it is this problem, well, you may see. And now many things might have been solved. Some people ask that, is a divine food eternal? So our answer is that as an attribute like omniscience or omniscience, whatsoever you pronounce, it means same. So as an attribute, it is an eternal thing as according to Sulfites. But those who do not consider it as an attribute but just a metaphor, then they say that it is just a metaphor. So no objection is possible in that case. So everything has been shown, and I hope that the people who have tried to attack Islam by attacking some literalists, a minority in Ahl-Sunnah, and of course this minority itself divided into majority and minority, but I am not talking about their internal differences. I am just saying that it is very incorrect approach to ascribe anything to Islam just because a small minority of Ahl-Sunnah have this view. Hope that things are clarified. Wassalam Tammat.